The one thing about the desert is that it seems very sturdy. It seems like it can withstand anything, right? It can withstand heat. It can withstand no rain. But at the same time, that means that those plants and those animals have evolved very slowly. I think nature can teach us that there is an abundance, even if we don't necessarily see it upon first look. That abundance is something we can cultivate or something that we can choose to ignore because it doesn't look the way we think abundance should look.
Nothing's textbook anymore. Being able to adapt is probably the best thing anybody could do. And be willing to accept change. Things aren't black and white. They come in all different colors now.
When I first moved to New Mexico, I thought, how could have anyone survived here? What did they eat? And then you start to learn about the fruit of this plant or how they processed this plant. It's just really cool to know that plants hold that power. I had a friend who worked down at Bosque del Apache at the Refuge. The Arboretum had a work day and they needed a couple volunteers to help plant. And I was in between jobs at that point. And so I said, absolutely, I'll come down. And I immediately knew that the Arboretum was my place. I very quickly fell in love with the landscape and the people and the plants and the birds and everything magical about this area.
It's an echinoceros. It's an echinoceros.
Spring at Bosque del Apache gets a lot quieter as the snow geese and the cranes head off north, but it starts to green up and we get a lot more little birds and you hear different songs. The bees come and the pollinators come. The cacti start to grow new pads. They perk up from their winter slumber. The Echinoceros coccineus is the New Mexico claret pup, has big, bright red, waxy blooms. I know when those are starting to bud out that any minute we're gonna get the hummingbirds. You know that summer's on the way. It's really great to see hummingbirds eating their natural nectar, eating what's supposed to be here, that symbiotic relationship that's evolved for millennia. In the desert, particularly, I think one of the coolest lessons I've learned is that the plant will sprout at the right time. That seed will sit there until the rain happens at the right time. If the monsoon's a little late, maybe we'll get different flowers.
I love chili, so that's my thing. I think August is my favorite time because you just want to go pick a chili off the plant and eat it right there. My name is Tommy Rosales. I am the son of Mario and Linda Rosales, the owners of Rosales Farmers Produce. We're located in Limitar, New Mexico, north of Socorro. We've been in business for 50 years. My grandfather, he started from nothing, and he brought us to where we're at today. I've been here my whole life, and I've seen a lot of things. My work experiences have taken me from growing things for people to actually working at the Refuge to where you have habitat. It kind of changed my view on a lot of things. My grandfather always taught how we do things on our farm. This is how we work the land. This is what we need to do for our next crop. When I went to the Refuge to work there, I had that same mentality to be productive for wildlife as well. That way the birds know where the safe haven is. They need that feed, they need that nutrients to continue on their flyway. And water's more precious than gold along their valley for sure. We live off the Rio Grande, diverting water to our farm. When I look at the refuge, they're at the tail end of our whole irrigation system. Fields go fallow like you see out here now. They need to also evolve the way every other farmer has to for their livelihood and our livelihood as well. An animal's gonna go do the same thing over and over until it changes. And I think humans, we have different attitudes. I don't know, I'm sure animals have attitudes too, but we have different personalities. We're not taught just to do one thing, we're taught to do so many things. My family is just trying to continue, and it gets passed on and passed down to other generations. I appreciate what my grandfather did for us, starting us off, and I'm hoping to grow that even better. Whenever I'm gone, and maybe somebody will say, hey man, he brought us here and this is where we're at. I have a grandson now. I'm hoping he wants to come back and help and do the same thing that I love to do. Watching people enjoy what you've worked so hard to make, that's really special to me, and it makes me love being a farmer. We've evolved. You have to change with the times now.
Each of the 4 seasons, the Bosque has its own personality. Before I came to the United States, I never seen any birds. So once I came here to Socorro and I saw this opportunity, then I became a bird watcher. There is a lot unknown about birds, about nature. This area, this refuge has huge capability for research. My areas of research is inspired from biomimicry. So we as an engineer, we are looking at this nature to get idea and apply this lesson learned into the aerospace industries. One-time use drones, so it's basically we use the wings of the trees. My research team developed experimental setup to study how birds, depend on their position, they save energy for long flight migration. If you look at the cranes or snow geese, they have a specific wingtip spacing between them. So if they are very far from each other, they cannot take advantage of the aerodynamical effects. All those birds, they have their wingtip black color. The black color in the wingtips has a higher temperature than the white spots, and that's going to change the flow patterns. And that's exactly how birds, they can adjust their distances with that portion of the coloration. If we apply that into the wingtips of the airplane, and if you save 0.0001%, a very negligible percent, energy saving or drag reduction, so that would be a huge saving in the money in a couple of years. There is a great potential to using Bosque for integration of the drones and apply that as a potential concept for wildlife monitoring.
Oh, it actually floats.
One of our projects was to get a naturally dead bird, taxidermy, and try to make flapping mechanisms to create a safe platform that we can use inside of Bosque to understand the area. Millions of years of evolution will bring us data that we can take advantage of that for us as a human, which we are much, much younger than the nature. It can get us to new technology, it can get us to better life, and I think lots of solutions. The birds, they have learned how to adapt themselves with the climate change. But still, for the time that we are here, I think everybody should play his or her own role.
Close to the ground and
Okay, someone seeds, someone directs. Okay, I can start with 14.
As much as this will bring together pollinators, it'll bring together a community that's in need of pollination.
Yeah, that's
Okay, let's do it.
The refuge has a lot of strains on its staff. It has a lot of strains financially, budget cuts, staff cuts, and that's part of the reason the Friends exist, is to help raise money, hire contractors or even manage projects to help them make the refuge continue to be a refuge for all seasons and all animals. Sometimes you need to take a breath and pay attention to where you are before you can get back on track. Sometimes just being present is as much as you need.